And we are live. Hello and welcome to the Live Reality Games channel. And we are covering the second episode of The Challenge USA. I'm Clark Wilcox.
And I'm Bossy Candy Bars.
And today we are joined by an org and LRG legend. Please give it up for the one and only Payton Dow. Hi, Payton.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining, especially on such a last minute.
You called me and I was like, sure, I got you, don't worry.
Literally like 24 hours beforehand, Payton, you were there. So we appreciate it and we are glad to have you today. What have you been up to the last couple months or so?
Literally just work. I'm like on an org hiatus right now. Like this summer, I was just like hot girl summer, drink, party. I'll just do my own thing. But I am up to a couple games this year. Stay tuned. Ooh. Can't really discuss them much yet, but they're coming. So towards the end of the year.
All right, nice. I definitely feel you on the org hiatus. I haven't hosted in like 5 months, which is crazy.
That's crazy for you. Jeez.
But I'm like, I've got the brain, like I've got the thought spinning. Like I want to host an org or an LRG, but I just don't have the time or the patience to do it. So we just enjoy our summer, just have a good time.
Exactly.
All right, so we are here today covering the second episode of The Challenge USA titled "Oh Say, Can You See Tiffany?" So before we get started, Payton, thoughts on the overall cast of The Challenge USA or on the premiere?
I'm like a little biased because a lot of my faves are on there from Big Brother and Survivor, but overall, I feel like they kind of just got whoever they could get, really. Like I would like to see a little bit more balance of like the Amazing Race people, just because I feel like they were going to be targeted right away regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's pretty good. Obviously Queen Tiffany, so this episode's all about her, so obviously we'll talk about that. But yeah, no, it's a pretty good cast.
Yeah, I sort of discussed in the last recap how I feel like because there were 4 shows and there were 28 people, this was a perfect opportunity for them to do like an even 7-7-7 split. And that's what I wish they sort of did, because Amazing Race is definitely at a disadvantage. Yeah. So we do have a viewer from the audience, Sam Higdon. Hi, Sam. Thank you for tuning in. So if you have any questions, if you're watching at home and have any questions for the comment section, please feel free to leave a question, leave a remark. I'm constantly keeping an eye on the comments and we will make sure to answer them. All right, so let's get started with episode 2. Oh, so Sam is saying I got some tea about the casting for the season. So feel free to share if you've got it.
Spill.
Yep, we are the Spill the Tea family. So so we start out with a couple of confessionals at the beginning of the episode. We have Sarah, who's mainly just bringing up the algorithm, because this is really the first time where we see the algorithm take place and these partnerships changing. But then we get a confessional from Desi, and she's saying that she does not want to be partnered with Derek or Enzo from Big Brother. Thoughts on that?
I did see her kind of explain that on social media, and she was like, she didn't really know them, so she was going based off size. So from her point of view, and her being on Survivor and things like that, I kind of see where she was coming from with that compared to the other guys that they had when it comes to Derek and Enzo. But she could be sleeping on them.
I don't know much about her. Like, she didn't get that much airtime on her season of Survivor, but she did win a lot. So, I mean, I just like, she's not someone I'm rooting for super heavily, and Derek X is someone I'm rooting for super heavily. So I was like, don't be coming for my man. No. But I don't know. He's a good competitor, so she's sleeping on him, I think.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I'm a fan of both Desi and Derek. Like, I'm rooting for both of them right now. So it's just curious the reasoning that Desi has to not want to work with Derek and Enzo. She's mentioning, oh, I'm afraid that they'll like screw me over in a challenge. I don't know if I can trust them. And I'm like, I get that. But Derek and Enzo, compared to some of the other men in the cast. I feel like Derek can definitely hold his own in challenges. Enzo proved in All Stars that he's quite a competitor. So I think it's too early to try and like jeopardize your partner in an elimination when it's just focused on safety. So Sam did spill some of that tea in the comments. So it looks like Janelle and Kelly Wentworth were contacted to do the challenge, and both of them declined. So, but that doesn't.
Yes, I knew Janelle. Of course, Janelle got called.
Yeah. Payton, thoughts on that?
No. I know Janelle is doing another show. So that could be why.
Oh yeah.
The grass thing with Sari and
Stephanie LaGrossa and you. I'm excited.
I know Janelle. She said that she didn't like the cast that was going, so she wasn't going.
Oh. She has been speaking up on Twitter so much lately. Like she's pretty vocal about like Big Brother and stuff now.
Yeah.
About stuff that's been going on, people that have cheated in the past, like this, that, and the other. So, I mean, who knows? She's crazy, honestly.
So thank you for sharing that, Sam. So after Sarah and Desi's confessionals, we go into the algorithm where they pair off all of the pairs for this challenge. So the first few that are announced, we have Kyland and Sarah. We have Derek and Tasha. The first one, we get a confessional from Kayla, and she's like, I don't want James or Leo because we're going to be immediately targeted. And she gets James as a partner. And I feel like that was some shadiness on production's end.
I was about to say rigged.
Yeah.
Literally.
There was a couple of things that was definitely rigged by the algorithm.
For sure. And Angela called it out, I'm pretty sure. She was like, random pairings. I was like, oh.
Exactly. They did that for storyline purposes. They was like, oh, we got to keep this going. Let's make them a partner so we can get what we need.
And when you look at Cinco and Cashie, immediately, like episode 1, I was like, I was like, this is going to happen immediately, quickly.
They made sure they did that before one of them went home.
Yep. So I it's interesting because I like the twist. I like them constantly changing the partnerships each episode, but it does not feel natural.
No.
Right.
Sam brought up in the comments, I feel like this is a test run for people that they would like to see on the regular show and to see if they would be good. I also, like, with this algorithm twist, I wish that they would bring it up, like that they would do this on the main series.
Right.
I've mentioned this in the first episode that, like, it's a lot of the same people in the finale, and it feels very static, and it feels like the same thing is happening season after season after season. So this is a twist that, even though it may be a bit iffy in terms of the partnerships and production may be trying to pair teams together to maximize drama, but it's definitely something that sort of shakes up the game and shakes up the format. So we have a few other teams. We have Tyson and Justine. We have Leo and Angela, Xavier and Azza, Cashel and Tiffany. We have Enzo and Alyssa. So there are at least a couple of teams where they are from the same show. Danny and Desi, Dominic and Shannon, Ben and Shan, and then last is David and Kira. They don't even get to see their names light up. So watching this episode back, thoughts on the pairs?
Like I said, rigged. A lot of those was rigged. Even the ones with the same from the same show, I just feel like it was rigged to give the people in power opportunity to be like, oh well, let's go after Enzo and Alyssa or Xavier and Azza. You get what I'm saying? Like, it was just, that algorithm is kind of throwing me off. I want it to feel natural, but it's definitely not natural.
No, it's definitely not. There's I understand like why they would do it that way, just because obviously it gives, I think they're trying to balance out the fact that they screwed Amazing Race over, but then why would you pair 2 Amazing Races together if you're screwed?
Yeah. Only 3 of them this early.
Yeah, right. So I don't know. It's okay.
I kind of have a suggestion on how they can sort of retweak it, because right now the pairings don't seem natural. It seems like production has a hand in it. But my idea to sort of retweak it was I like the changing partnerships. I feel like picture there's one table with like all the men's names and then one table with all the women's names. And then TJ picks a name at random. And let's say, for example, it's Shannon. Shannon, you have to pick a square from the men's table, and whoever you pick is your male partner. That sort of thing. So, yes, it does allow for people to be partnered with somebody they've been partnered with before. Like there's not that whole algorithm sort of thing, but it's random. You know, it is random 100%. And it still shakes up the game. So we have a comment from Drew. He's saying the only thing I like about the rigged pairings is that pairs can't be repeated. That is definitely true.
That's true.
Yeah. So definitely a plus. It definitely does shake up the game, but the pairings do not come across as natural. So most of episode 2 is focused on a couple people. The first part is Cashie and Cinco's breakup and their communication breakdown. And now that they are a pair in episode 2. And that was definitely a big part of the episode, a big focus. Thoughts on that?
They were like, I feel like they were hinting, like, I feel like they knew Tiffany was going to go soon. So I feel like they probably, like, they were foreshadowing it in the first episode when they were like, she was having that conversation with Cinco in the kitchen. And then she started like bashing her about it. So I feel like they were setting it up for a while, and that's why they paired them together. But I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Payton said. They definitely, like I said in like previous reviews, that I seen this coming. That like Tiffany and Cinco and the Love Island girls was coming. I knew it was coming. They just kept on showing Tiffany and Cinco and the Love Island. They just kept talking about Cashie and her ex-boyfriend that she still thinks is her boyfriend. So, yeah.
And it would not surprise me in the slightest, like spoiler alert, if Tiffany made it to episode 3. You know for a damn fact Tiffany is being partnered with Cinco. They want that drama. They want
Therefore, get that.
Like it was going to happen if Tiffany survived this episode, but it didn't. So after that, we have James and Kayla. They realize they're in a shit position because they're both on a pair together, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that they got put in that position and they really had no say in it at all. Thoughts on James and Kayla being partnered?
I just want to see James play Big Brother because his social game is out of this world. Like he needs to go on a different show because he put in some work and he kind of ran circles around these Big Brother people. And I was like, okay, I see you. Like I didn't realize I'd be rooting for him because I don't know much about him, but I am a James fan right
now. Right.
I feel
sorry,
go ahead, Bossy.
No, I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, I love me some Tiffany, but James, he knew what to do. He knew like Tiffany, like I said in the previous, Tiffany was the queen, and you had to get the queen out if you want the cookie to crumble. And he knew that, and that was the only way to save himself at that time. So yeah, James definitely gets 10s across the board from me.
Mm-hmm.
He is eating this early season up. Like I 100%
yes.
Like I feel like he would do, like he did phenomenally in Amazing Race, of course, but I feel like he would do phenomenally in Big Brother also, because he is arguably, I'd say Enzo is one of the best social competitors in my opinion because of how he did in Big Brother 12 and Big Brother 22, but Enzo and James are like in the top 3 for me in terms of social players this season. So I think that he'd do amazingly on Big Brother if given the opportunity. So after that, we see Tyson and Justine, and they're a pair, and they sort of start to mingle and strategize and socialize. And I sort of like this partnership. You have somebody who has played 4 times on Survivor, and then somebody who is brand new to strategic games. So thoughts on Tyson and Justine this episode?
Um, I I liked the pairing. I personally was really proud of Justine because I didn't know what she could do. So I was like, oh, okay. I mean, Tyson really still don't care, but I like them as a pair because it brought a lot out of her.
Another rigged pair, though. Obviously, they would be together.
Yes,
Her best friend home. I've never been a Tyson fan. I don't know why. He's like a great player and Survivor and stuff, but I've just never been on board with him before. So I would be fine with seeing him go home. But obviously, he's probably going to go far. He's been doing great. So
he is playing. Yeah, like he is playing this game on easy mode, like super chill. I like that Tyson is sort of like a mentor to Justine. I love Justine. Like, I'm a huge fan. I'm rooting for her. Hope she makes it far. And this episode definitely highlighted her strengths. And I feel like when it came to the daily challenge, they were able to work and communicate beautifully. Like Tyson really was the muscles and Justine was the brains, but they both sort of had like a good balance of both. So we sort of mentioned this before. We see clips of Tiffany and Cinco flirting and then cut to the house basically saying they don't trust Tiffany.
That shit.
Well, I would say this because I've been lurking online, everything like that, and Tiffany was definitely friends with a lot of those people outside of the show. And I was listening to her podcast, and I'm gonna have to agree with Tiffany. Like, I know that y'all doing the show thing, but a friendship kind of comes over the show, and it's like you're telling my personal business to the house. I got a teenage son watching this. Like, he don't want to hear that I'm trying to use my assets to sleep with all these men on TV. Not for my friend that I know outside of the house. So I'm Team Tiffany on that one. I feel like they was really hating really hard.
Yeah, Shan, I don't know. I don't know if they have beef outside. I was not expecting that behavior from her. Like, I feel like she's playing. I know she called her out for like the sleeping around thing. But I don't like that's just too much. Like, that's no. If you want to target her, I understand she has a lot of friends. But that's just no, that's a little bit petty. And then they want to call like her petty, and I'm like, that kind of like she was flirting with Cinco, sure. It wasn't that big of a deal. Like it's not like they were making out with each other and like sleeping in the same bed or whatever. Like, what did he do? Carry her to her bed? Big whoop. Like, get over it. You guys are broke up. Like,
and he carried her to her bed because she sprained her ankle and they didn't even show it.
Right. And that's what I don't know. I'm like I'm Team Tiffany all the way. Like Cashie, like, get over it.
Please.
I'll go into it a little bit more in detail, but I feel like there's a lot that the challenge is not showing us. And I feel like I had no idea that Tiffany had a sprained ankle. So thank you, Bossy.
Right, she did. Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't know that. I feel like there's a lot that should be shown but isn't shown. Especially like when it came to the first elimination. We see all this politicking from James and Shannon to not go into elimination, but it's in like little tiny like 30-second to a minute segments. And they did the same thing this episode with announcing who was going to go into the elimination and then have like a minute of all the strategizing that happened that morning.
Right.
So there's a lot that they aren't showing, and I will go into more detail about that. So to talk about Shan, we have the News Shan segment. Do we think this is going to be a recurring thing with this season?
Well, according to y'all, I don't really watch Survivor like that, but according to y'all said this got her in trouble a lot on Survivor, so I think it could get her in trouble on here as well.
Just being like
messy.
Just being messy.
A little bit too messy. And then I can see you telling information, but what if the numbers dwindle down? They'd be like, I'm not gonna trust her because she just be telling information. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't think it's going to help her at all.
Yeah, just leaking and sprinkling information to everybody. Yeah, I get it. So now we go into the daily challenge, and the daily challenge is Yeah Buoy. So how it works is 2 pairs at a time. They climb up this ladder and they jump onto these giant buoys covered with tires, and they have letters around them. So each player can grab 5 letters at a time and bring it back to their station. And they have to assemble these letters into sort of like a Scrabble pattern to try and get as many words as possible on their board. And the team that gets the most words correctly wins the challenge, and the team with the fewest words goes into the elimination. Thoughts on this challenge?
I thought it was cool. That's a really cool challenge. I was like, obviously everything looks harder than it looks, but my roommate was watching it with me and he was like, why do they keep falling? I was like, it's not even that far. I was like, girl, I don't know. It's probably harder than it seems, but I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I thought it looked fun. Like I was watching it with my friend too, and I was like, I could probably do this one. Like this looked kind of easy to do. Like I mean, all I gotta do is fall in the water. If I fall, okay. Yeah, I like that one.
I usually say like my favorite challenges are the ones that balance physical and mental. And this did that perfectly. It's not something that we've seen on the challenge like we saw with episode 1, where it felt like it was something we've seen before. This one seemed really new and really exciting. And watching this back, I was like, you've got swimming and you've got words, and those are my 2 strengths. I was like, I want to do this. Climbing and jumping onto the buoys would be a pain in the ass. Like I do terrible at that, but swimming and words all day. So the first 2 that go up are Leo and Angela and Sarah and Kyland. And we sort of see Leo start off the challenge by taking off his shoes and going in at a gingerly pace. And they mentioned that their strategy is to build one long word and then build off of words off of that. Thoughts on that strategy?
And almost didn't make it second. I don't know. I don't know if they announced
No.
it. It looked like they didn't even do it good.
I have all the scores. Second
I
place.
felt like Leo could have took his shoes off before the challenge started if he was going to take his shoes off, because don't nobody got time to be waiting on you to take off your shoes.
Yes.
Angela is just, she like, she's getting, I mentioned this to my roommate too, she's getting a very much her same Big Brother edit. Like her season of Big Brother, she was like super, super heavy the first like 1 episode. And then she like went flat for like 3 or 4 episodes and then she picked up again. So I think she's playing the same game, which I don't have anything against her. So I think she's cool.
Yeah, I'm about to say, Angela just seemed like she's going to be here the whole time. Like, I just don't see her going anywhere.
I mean, physically, she is stacked. I mean, her physical game in Big Brother 20 was great. She won the first challenge. So we know when it comes to challenges, like Angela's not going to struggle at all, except for this one. Because their strategy of like building a 10-letter word, like this is the Big Brother, where they go through the backyard and they have to like find the individual letters and build the longest possible word. I'm like, no, ma'am, that is not the strategy.
Yeah, and they had words in that word they could have used. I was like, why are you going that far? Like, that doesn't, you're just
They had a 10-letter word. They had manipulate and then built off of that. And I'm like, you could make probably 2 or 3 words out of this one word that you had.
Mm-hmm.
Great strategy. Love it. So Sarah and Kylan finished with 5. So they're technically in the lead right now between the 2 pairs. So then the next 2 pairs are Xavier and Azah and James and Kayla. And we see from James and Kayla that this was struggle bus. They did their best. They tried, but they finished with a score of 0. Thoughts on that?
I was just like, I knew that they were in trouble as soon as they got paired together. They had so much comedy in this episode, though. They're so funny. James is hilarious. So
yeah, I'm gonna say blame production on that, because they could have. That was production's fault. I'm not even gonna blame them.
Yeah, we do have a comment from Valencia Burns. It looks like. I think this is in regards to Angela, because she said Davon said she was probably in Big Brother mode. So Angela's probably playing the game of Big Brother in the challenge. So
yeah,
possible. Thank you, Valencia.
you're doing a good job, though. I tell you that much. For some reason, a lot of people just gravitate towards Angela.
Yeah. And she's not going to go in anytime soon. Like, she
Yeah,
just
no.
wasted 2 challenges.
Definitely not.
Ain't nobody going to take the chance.
The rest,
and she's already
right.
qualified for the final, so.
She's got connections with Big Brother. She's in great physical shape. She is in no risk of going.
And she's connected with Survivor now. Tyson's going to keep her safe. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. So watching James and Kayla, we see like James hurts his back. They fall a lot. So we're, 99% sure that they are going into the elimination. After that, we have Enzo and Alyssa and Dominic and Shannon. And Dominic has this confessional about, I was second place in Survivor Ghost Island. I'm here to prove to everybody that I'm not a runner-up, that I can win this game. And then they get 2.
I'm not a fan of either one, really. Like, Dom is just like flat surface. I don't see any pizzazz. I don't see nothing ever. And didn't he do Amazing Race once too? Like, I don't think. I think he was on maybe. No. I think he was on the Big Brother one, maybe not. Maybe
Dominic?
Yeah, wasn't he partnered with someone else? And he played the Survivor Big Brother season with Nicole.
Yeah, the Amazing Race season?
Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe I'm like.
I think you're.
I don't like him either way.
No, I think you're talking about Brett from Survivor.
Oh, yes.
Rex did the same exact thing.
Yeah, that's.
Rex did the same exact thing. We were watching the episode, and Rex was like, "Isn't that the bigger white guy that we sat by the pool with at Hearts of Reality?" And I was like, "No, bitch, that's Brett."
They're both boring, so. That's funny.
But
yeah, I'm gonna agree with I think Dominic is. I don't really care about him. I was proud of Shannon though for doing it. And I really didn't pay too much attention to Alyssa and Enzo, to be honest, this episode. Well, I did pay attention to Alyssa, but later.
Yes. Yeah. Enzo and Alyssa gave a very good, solid performance. Dominic and Shannon were actually the next lowest team after James and Kayla. So had James and Kayla been able to do well and form a couple words, we could have seen Dominic and Shannon in the elimination. Next up, we have Tiffany and Cashel, and we have Ben and Shan. And Cashel tries to put Kira as one of his words in the challenge.
Oh my God, that irritated me so bad. Like, it would have been funny any other time, but I just was like, judging from Kira's confessionals, I'm just like, boy, she don't even care about you for real. Like, can you just stop? Like, what makes you think that you can use that in a fucking, in a word puzzle? Like, you cannot use her name in a word puzzle. Her name is not even in a dictionary. Like, come on now.
Tiffany was not having it either. She was like, you have me, I am here with you, not her, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, sis, this is too much.
Tiffany has not had it with either of her partners up to this point. When Leah was like, Tiffany, take a good look around where you are, and Tiffany was like, nope.
Right.
Tiffany's confessionals were so great for that, when she's just calling out the stupidity of her partners.
Yeah, that is what back to with that person had asked in the questions, and they were like, they think this is a trial run for some of them to go on the main show. I think that can be true, but I think that some of them is a trial run for them to be regulars on this particular series. I think some of them could go to the main show, but a lot of them definitely are going to come back for another season.
Yeah. Tyson and Angela, I feel like, are already shoo-ins to keep coming back, but
well, we could talk about that. I think that's a great topic for things to discuss at the end of the recap, because I think there are some people that are for sure competing to return to the Challenge USA, and then there may be some people that, yes, they would be shoo-ins. Do they want to return?
Okay.
So we did get a comment from Valencia. Isn't Dominic runner up to Wendell? Was that the season he was on? Yes. So Dominic was the runner up, lost in a tiebreaker vote in Survivor Ghost Island. So Laurel voted for Wendell to win, and that is the closest finish in a Survivor season ever. So yes, Valencia, that is correct. So the next, Ben and Shan, we don't really see much of them in the challenge. They get 5, and then Tiffany and Cash will take the lead with 6. So that was definitely a good performance by both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have Cashie and Cinco and Derek and Tasha. And this is where the Cashie-Cinco communication really comes to a head. And Cashie doesn't know how to swim. And then they're trying to communicate on top of that. So thoughts on Cashie and Cinco working together?
It was gonna. I knew it was gonna happen as soon as I saw them both on the cast. They were like hugging at the end though, so I don't know. This whole thing is just drama. I love it.
Personally, I think it was annoying me. Like, Cashie, I do think she's a good character for the show. Don't get me wrong, but it was just annoying me. It just was like she wanted to be. Cinco, he's just like, you need me. I'm like, girl, please, he needs you to help him win the challenge, but he don't need you like that. Can you just hurry up and get in the water? Like, it was really annoying me.
Like, you just see Cashie just standing there. Like, I know like the letters were rotating each time, but that was something when I was watching, I was like, just literally just jump on the damn thing. I know
you have a life jacket on, sis. Like, just take your legs and go. You're not that far away from land, sis.
You've got 20 minutes, and you're standing on the podium just waiting to jump on. Like, I don't know if it was waiting for letters, convenient sort of thing, because it's way more important to get an A than a Q. So,
and girl, you just swam there. Just jump in the water.
In the water to get there in the first place.
Yeah.
So Cashie and Cinco finish with 4. They do put in a good effort. And then Derek and Tasha finish with a 3. So the next group after that is David and Kira and Tyson and Justine. And we see Tyson and Justine, they put on a master class in this challenge, like absolutely feasting it. So before we get to David and Kira, because I do want to talk about that, thoughts on Tyson and Justine?
Slate.
Yeah. That's good. Congrats. Like I said, I'm not a huge
super proud of Justine.
Yeah, she really was. She held her own.
She definitely
just the way
she definitely punched her ticket to come back.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, she punched her ticket to come back.
And she is for sure, like, of all of the Love Island competitors, she is the best Love Island competitor. Like,
yes,
she could be on
out of the females. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm proud of her and Cinco, actually, because I don't know what Love Island is capable of. So yeah,
they've been showing up. They've been sticking with. Honestly, they've been performing better than some of the Survivor and Big Brother teams.
They really have. Yes.
Yeah. So Tyson and Justine, they finished with a final score of 9. Justine's Scrabble arrangement, like, she was the only one to really like combine words together and sort of like use one vowel for like 3 or 4 different words, whereas other teams didn't really try and use that strategy, and that was really smart of her. And then Tyson's just like whipping through this. You see a giant stack of letters that literally, like, it could look like a stack of pancakes from IHOP or something. Like, towering like that. So Justine definitely had a lot to work with because Tyson was just flying through this challenge.
We had that confessional of being like, I'm not going to breathe heavy in front of them. And I was like, oh, you're so smart. I was like, you're so smart. I was like, you might be taking my stand card. It's going to take another episode or so, but he'll get it eventually.
Do we think that this is going to bite him in the ass, though, at some point?
Eventually, someone's going to say, I want to go after the biggest target.
Yeah.
The biggest threat by far, establishing himself as a huge threat and a huge target. He's going to be going into
I don't think anyone's going to take the chance anytime soon, but it will come. If anybody has balls, it will come.
Well, if someone ends up needing a lot of money because they need to qualify, like, why not throw them in and try to steal it? Like,
right, yeah.
Eventually.
So after that, we do get the very first confessional from David Alexander. And David's confessional is, I'm glad that I got to be go up against Tyson and Justine because I get to see how I am as a competitor compared to Tyson. And then he immediately flops into the
Oh my gosh, like poor David. Like I want to say he is fun. He to me personally, he's fun to watch because he's so clueless, but he is terrible at challenges. Like I be watching the challenge like I hope David do good in this one. And then he just does so bad and I'm just like, "Oh my god, okay, David." Okay, David.
I know in both of his seasons, well, kind of 1.5 because he barely played his first one. He was on the feed saying how he wanted to play so he could get on the challenge, which I thought that maybe that would be one of his first confessionals, but he had his first one and it was horrible. So I'm not a David stan, so I'm whatever. He can flop.
What I was unfortunate is I mentioned this in the cast assessment, but David's best showing has literally been the season he was first booed in.
Yeah.
Like when he's in Camp Comeback and he's still in the house, he picked up on the house dynamics like that. So that was the best showing he's had. And then when he goes into All Stars and now this so far, it's leaving a lot to be desired. So David and Kira finished with a score of 4, and then Tyson and Justine just kick ass with a score of 9. And then the last team to go is Desi and Danny, and they put up a solid performance and finished with a score of 6. So Tyson and Justine finishing first with 9, and then tied for second are Cashel and Tiffany, which is unfortunate, and Desi and Danny. So then we go into the discussion with Tyson and Justine talking with James and Kayla. And James and Kayla bring up a couple possible names. The Big Brother teams of Xavier and Azah and Enzo and Alyssa, and then also Cashel and Tiffany. Thoughts on the whole deliberation?
Yeah, like I said earlier, that was really smart of James to throw that out there to save his game. I don't care if I like Tiffany the most or not. You did what you had to do, and you didn't owe anybody anything. Like you knew that you was pretty much set up from the beginning since you got in there. And the way to take out anybody, you have a Love Island and Survivor person sitting in front of you. You might as well go after Big Brother so they won't go after you.
Right. I mean, I don't know at what point she sprained her ankle. Do you know? Like, when was that? Like, if she was the most socially connected and she has an injury, like, why wouldn't you want to go against her, quite frankly?
Yeah, I don't know exactly when she sprained her ankle, but I was listening to her and Davon podcast, and she was like, he carried me to bed because I sprained my ankle. If you look at the episode and look at my foot, it's a whole ice pack around my foot. Wow. So I went back and I watched. I was like, oh yeah, it is a whole ice pack around her foot. But at the same time, she did say she didn't care if it was an ice pack or not. If he wanted to carry her to bed, he can carry her to bed.
James is just very socially aware. Like that's what, like, he needs to go on a different show.
Socially and strategically. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Like he's played 2 seasons of Live to Give. He's won Amazing Race. Like, we know he's very socially and strategically savvy. So it doesn't come as a surprise. But him noticing that Tiffany is the glue that's binding Big Brother together and trying to make a move on that as opposed to a Big Brother duo was really smart. Really smart. So then as we're talking about Tiffany, it's more of Tiffany and Cinco, and Cinco carrying Tiffany to bed in front of Cashie.
They was hating. They were still hating. I really was surprised at Desi because it just was like, girl, like, that ain't even your man. Like, what are you so mad about? Like, come on, you're not even from Love Island. Right. So that was just throwing me off. I just felt like, dang, Tiffany, you are 41 years old and you got 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds really depressed. Like, you win, sis.
Right. They can stay pressed. Like, she didn't do anything. Like, unless there's shit that they're not airing. Like,
well, okay, Cashie did say that her and Tiffany, she feels like Tiffany felt the type of way because she was hanging out with Kylan off the show or whatever the case may be. And she was like that her and Tiffany had a conversation in her DMs or something about they had a conversation when she first got there about how she didn't want to make a scene about Cinco and the situation. She just wanted to get to know her on her own and all that. But you can only edit what you give production, and you said a lot of those stuff that you said out of your own mouth. So, still Team Tiffany.
Yeah, same.
And then yeah, we have Tiffany and Cinco flirting. Next is Tyson and Tiffany. They are discussing the possible nomination. So Tyson brings up that it could be Enzo and Alyssa or Xavier and Azah. And Tiffany is leaning heavily towards Enzo and Alyssa. So that's where we start to see more of the Alyssa confessionals come in. Thoughts on any of that?
I don't blame Alyssa either. Like, in this situation, I don't blame Alyssa. I know she don't want to do that, but at this time, it's either me or you. She knows that they're all going to go for each other. So help each other out. So she might as well try to save herself. Like, I don't blame Alyssa at all. I'm more so shocked at Xavier than Alyssa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think she really preyed on like how Xavier more or less fucked her over in their season of Big Brother, and I think she capitalized on that. So I thought it was smart.
I do want to say though, Alyssa, you were never looking out for Xavier on your season. You thought you were looking out for Xavier on your season. Xavier was never in trouble on your season. I just want to make that clear. I agree with what Alyssa's trying to do, but sis, that's not what happened on your season.
I hate that it's all coming back on like Tiffany, who's one of my favorite players, but I was like, if y'all do what you need to do, like I would do probably the same thing if I had to, but it was unfortunate she didn't get to. Like,
right.
She didn't really get a chance to counteract, like, because she didn't hear about it. I feel like had it have came to Tiffany's attention, she probably could have turned it around a little bit, but yeah.
Oh, and since we're here, Tiffany said Alyssa is a snake in real life and on the show. She's not cool with her. She was like that. She still talks to Xavier, but she was like, Alyssa, Xavier, none of them was going to do the show at first until Tiffany decided she was going to do the show. Then Alyssa called her and said, are you going to do the show? Xavier's going to do it now. We're all going to do the show. So basically, they all had an agreement before they came into the show. And even though I still don't blame Alyssa, y'all all had an agreement before you came into the show. So there y'all go. Some tea.
That is some tea.
And then we got a comment from Sam. I'm surprised that Kylan versus Xavier has not come up yet on the show. I feel like, I mean, when I went to Hearts of Reality, all of the cookout was there together, and they've obviously gotten super close after the show. So I don't think that feud from Big Brother 23 is going to carry over to the challenge. I think that feud is sort of squashed at this point, but it would be interesting to sort of refer to that because that was like one of the biggest fights in Big Brother 23.
Yep.
So then we go into the elimination and we see who Tyson and Justine are about to nominate, and they make it really suspenseful, and we don't know who it's going to be. And then Tyson and Justine nominate Cashie and Tiffany. And then immediately we have the 1 minute of strategizing. Like we have, what is it? We have people saying like they are perfectly fine with Tiffany going into elimination. Like Alyssa's perfectly fine with Tiffany going in. Xavier's fine with Tiffany going in. And then Tyson and Justine are talking about it. So thoughts on the strategizing to get Tiffany thrown into the elimination with Cashel?
Like I said, it was the damage control and the wink for me. That's what threw me off. It was like, dang, really the wink too? Like you gonna wink at Alyssa too after you do that? No, like that really was. I wasn't feeling that at all. I wasn't feeling that at all. Like I mean, I get that you might have built a relationship with Alyssa that was stronger outside the show or whatever the case may be, but you ain't had to do the wink and the secret and all that because that's how friendships in real life crumble. Because if I was watching that back and I thought that y'all was my friends and you winking at her like, oh, I just saved you and I'm gonna do damage control for when she's gone, I wasn't feeling that.
Yeah, nobody really stuck their neck out. Like, I don't know, no one stuck their. Who would stick their neck out for a huge social threat if they're gonna go in? Like, just send them in. It's a game, but I don't know. It's just, I just wish Tiffany would have heard about it. I would have loved to see the drama. I know she could have gotten something up her sleeve.
Yes.
It would have been really fun if Tiffany had like survived to this elimination, and then just the aftermath of all of that as she's coming back into the
She
house.
would have put that house upside down.
Yep.
We already know she's definitely coming back. She's the face and he's only on 2 episodes.
Oh, for sure.
So we have the elimination, and this is sort of a new elimination for the challenge, and it's called Knowledge is Powered. So each pair gets a stationary bike, and there's like a little lightning tower or light tower, and it lights up the more rotations that you do on the bike. So after every 2 lights, there will be a sequence of symbols that show up on a monitor above the lightning tower. And you have to memorize this sequence and then recreate it on a board underneath. So there are 3 sequences in total, and the first pair to get all 3 sequences on the board wins the elimination. Thoughts on this as an elimination challenge?
I thought it was great.
Yeah, me too.
Once again, a great breakup of physical, mental, which you don't see a lot really in the regular challenge. Physical, but these they were probably like, these Americans can't handle the physicalness, so that's probably why they did that. But it was nice. But now I know, I was like, why is Tiffany not pedaling? I was like, she doesn't look like she's trying, but now we know her ankle or her foot or whatever. So I'm like, they should have shown that, because my roommate even was like, why? What is she doing? She's not even pedaling. And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like y'all said, I like the elimination because I had never seen that before in that way on the challenge. And I also think that, I think that it was made for James and Kayla. Like, that just seemed like an Amazing Race type of challenge to do. Like, you're running, really, even though you're bicycling, you're running, and then you memorize something. And Tiffany, like y'all said, her ankle, and then she also said, she was like, look, my legs are the weakest thing on me. So she was like, I was trying, but I really don't have it in my legs. So that's that.
So I mean, just watching the elimination, you can easily see like James and Kayla were working as a duo. Like, they were in sync the entire time, whereas it looked like with Cashel and Tiffany, it was 2 individuals riding a bike.
And Kayla, she was really smart. She was, I got a phone charger, and I was like, I'm going to use that strategy next time I memorize something, because I wouldn't remember that stuff on the wall, just looking at it like it was. But when she said it, like how she said it and started telling the story in her head, I was like, oh, I could have did that. That was smart.
They really stayed calm with it too. Like, they're, oh, not a free spin class, and they were like laughing and like joking around. Like, they didn't take it too seriously. It's like, if I'm overhyped and overstimulated, I'm not going to remember shit. So like, they did good staying calm and just like being chill.
It looked like they were having fun with it, like having fun with an elimination, and that's like really rare to see.
Right. So the last time we saw that was Kendall in the not so fast. She was like, wee, going through there.
Yeah. So we see like Tiffany and Cashel start off strong. Like, Cashel is clearly trying to pull the weight of 2 people, just like whipping through that bike. But it's you don't see team unity, you don't see communication. Whereas with James and Kayla, you do see communication. So they start off strong, but James and Kayla being in sync, and Kayla's strategy of memorizing the symbols. They pull out a come from behind victory, and James and Kayla win the elimination over Cashel and Tiffany. I know we've sort of discussed Cashel and Tiffany throughout this entire recap. Thoughts on their elimination?
Very unfortunate, but I am proud of James and Kayla. They do deserve to be there.
Yeah. I was like, obviously, going in, I was like, oh, Tiffany, I was like rooting for her, and I was like, but wait, I was like, my heart is like being tugged over here by James. I was like, he's funny, he's cool, like he has a good strategy, like it's not going to be disappointing if he stays in either. He's giving good TV, so
yeah.
Either
James,
way, good.
Yeah, James and Kayla are both giving great TV. I definitely do agree.
I'm surprised by them so much because I do not watch Amazing Race at all, so I wasn't expecting them to have me entertained at all.
Yeah. And I mean, without a doubt, I think Tiffany's going to be returning regardless. This is not the last.
Of course, right.
Tiffany is going to be.
I think James and Tiffany will, because they've been getting great edits.
Yep.
Yeah. We do have a new comment from Sam, and Sam said, TJ said in preseason interviews that he was impressed most with Alyssa. So good to know. Yeah. Alyssa is definitely playing a very good game this season. I mean, she's socially, physically, she's very balanced in all three. So I think she's going to do well. So that is it for the episode. There are a couple things that I wanted to mention. The thing that I've been highlighting last episode and now this episode is who does not get a single confessional the entire episode. And the people that don't get a single one are Tasha, Azah. I'm pretty sure Xavier did not get a single confessional either. I asked and I wasn't 100% sure. So if somebody in the comments saw an Xavier confessional, please correct me on that, but I didn't see one. And then Shannon. So all four of them did not get a confessional this episode. And David was the only one that didn't last episode.
I'm trying to remember. I think, did Xavier talk about the whole saving?
He didn't have a confessional about it, but he was there. Yeah. So I do think Xavier probably will pick up next episode. He probably will get all through the camera next episode.
Yeah.
Tasha, I think Tasha will probably pick up next. She just seems boring to me. I don't know how long she's gonna be there, but I do think she'll pick up soon, because usually when you don't have enough, when you have a ghost edit, you're either there for a long time or you're about to go home. So I think it might be about to pick up soon. And Shannon, I know they're probably saving her for something, because we know she's going to get hers is going to definitely pick up.
Yeah. Sam was commenting, Shan got a confessional. We met Shannon from Love Island, because we definitely know Shannon got a confessional with the new Shan, but Shannon from Love Island. But I think that's telling as to who they want to highlight as people on the season and who they really couldn't give much about. Like David, his only confessional in 2 episodes has been about him flopping the challenge.
Well, he's boring. What are you what are you supposed to say?
So let's go back. We were talking about it a little bit earlier. Who from this cast do you think you could see on a regular season of the challenge? And who, if they did a Challenge USA season 2, who do you think is a lock to return?
Oh, you know what's crazy? I was just thinking about this yesterday. For the guys, I would say Challenge USA regular, James and Tyson. Mm-hmm. Crossover to the main show, Cinco and Kayla for the main show for the guys. Now for the USA Challenge for the girls, Tiffany regular, Sarah regular, Angela regular, because Angela's too scared to go to MTV. So, and then for the girls for MTV, I would say Justine can go to MTV, Shannon can go to MTV, Alyssa can go to MTV, and even Cashie can go to MTV.
I agree with literally all of that.
Yeah, I think even there's the possibility of Derek being somebody that could be on the Challenge USA in multiple seasons.
Yeah, I can see that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't see Leo returning. I don't see Cashel returning. Like I'm trying to think. There are only
Tasha.
I think there are maybe 2 or 3 people from the cast that I've heard like did not have a great experience. Tyson being one of them, Leo being another. Like they haven't really said much great things about the challenge. Yeah. They may come back because if they think they're going to be dominant and win a lot, I mean, hey, it's a competition for money and there's a lot on the line, but it just depends. Like I don't see Ben returning really. Ben hasn't really had much airtime either in either.
I haven't seen
in either episode.
I'm excited, or not really excited, because I don't like him or Sarah. But I'm intrigued kind of to see their relationship from Winners at War to now and see if it's changed or anything. But yeah.
It's definitely been, I mean, that definitely is going to be something to watch, but we need airtime from them in order to do it. We are getting it from Sarah, but not really from Ben. So that's it for the episode. Do we have any final thoughts to wrap up this recap?
No, I think we pretty much got everything this time. And we got it in under an hour this time.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's an hour episode, so an hour recap. Payton, final thoughts? Anything?
Rest in peace, Tiffany. Like, but we'll see her again. So
yeah. Yeah, we're gonna miss Tiffany this season. She was great TV. Gave us a lot of great airtime, quality TV. So it's gonna be unfortunate, but this is not the last we're gonna see of Tiffany. All right. Well, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to this Challenge USA episode 2 recap. I want to say thank you again to Payton. Thank you so much for joining. Bossy and I will be back next week to recap the 3rd episode of the Challenge USA with another extra special podcast guest. If you would like to be a podcast guest for this Challenge USA podcast, please reach out to Bossy and I. We are looking for guests each and every week. Payton was able to join 24 hours before this podcast, so please feel free to reach out if you would like to be a guest on this podcast. And once again, if you have any questions or comments about the Challenge USA or about this podcast, please feel free to leave comments or questions either on YouTube or on Facebook. Lastly, please make sure to like, subscribe, follow the Live Reality Games channel. There are tons of live reality games being produced monthly. So if you're looking for a live reality game to play or even host your own live reality game, please make sure to follow the Live Reality Games channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.
Toodles.
Bye.